What's good, beautiful people? You see who I'm here with? We out the way, man. We out the way, man.
What, the people are coming in?
They gonna get here when they get here. You know that?
Yep. You see the title, you know what it is. You know what it's about. It's about unification. Utilizing what we have out here. Not understanding the parallels of the UK, as in London and New York, America. Everything that's happening over there is happening over here. Everything happening over here is happening over there. One thing in life, I always say, follow the money and you shall find the truth. So, QUEBUTTER, what's been happening?
A lot of push, a lot of work, a lot of grinding, a lot of talking. You know what I mean? A lot of talking, a lot of grinding though.
Because you know the youth, all they know is about the money. And, you know, when you tell them certain logics, they ain't taking it in. How do you feel that the American or even New York people take things at the moment, even on the forms of the conscious community?
They're gravitating towards it slowly. I think the push right now, you know, on its own is awareness and consciousness. You know, the youth are, you know, that there's so many things that's compelling them to understand themselves. You know,
because you know one thing I always say is, as we said earlier, of if you take someone out of the church, what have you got to replace it? So in the form of if you take someone out of the street, what have you got to offer? And I find that a situation where it's on both parallels between New York and how London is these youth are going out there making big money, and what have you got to replace that? What kind of ideology do you think that could be done?
That's the question. I know people usually say that with the drug dealers.
Yeah.
Like, yo, if you get rid of the drugs and them selling crack, what you gonna do to replace it? For me, it's education. Education removes that whole idea because it opens up the doors to so many more capabilities and you know, opportunities. You know, they get, you know, if you teach a person how to weld, you teach them how to, you know, program, you can teach them how to build computers, you can teach them how to do construction, teach a person, you know, various amounts of things, tons of things. And from there, it'll, you know, give them opportunities to replace, you know, them not having any. And I think that's what a lot of times, by them not having any opportunities, they end up in a position where they can only do what's around in the jungle. You know, of course, you go to any ghetto around the world, you'll test to this. You know, there's going to be drugs, it's going to be violence, it's going to be no local.
Because whatever makes money on the streets at the time, the easiest way, if I have no education, of course, I'm going to do some form of supply and demand. It's just that coincidentally, we have what we call drugs that are able to do that kind of stuff to able them to do, to create and making that money. But then I could say that we can put the youth into three categories. We've got the babies, which we'll say from 0 to let's say 10. Then you've got the ones from 10 to 15, 16, and then from 18, or let's put it 17 to 25. Now, the young babies, we can still generate and able to uplift them and change their mindset by giving them the education. The ones in the middle are where I can say it's a hard one, because you know when they get to around 14, I don't know if a lot of people could see it out there, but if you look at some of the 13, 14 and 15, they are very rebellious because they're confused. So then we have a situation is, what can we do to educate them from getting confused? Our issues at the moment is we do what the Europeans have been doing for many years. As I said, if I go back into the history, because I don't want to really bore you, but if you go into the Roman times, the Romans did one thing. When they conquered the place, they took the firstborn of every child, took them to Rome, and then made them learn the Roman way. And what do? They bring them back to their wherever society they're from. What happens? They either rebel against their forefathers, or they'll wait for their forefathers to pass away, and then they will put the European system within their community. Now, if we put it fast forward in today's world, we are all sending our children, giving them no culture of our community, because I don't even just say go into Africa or go into the Caribbean or going anywhere else, but we don't even teach our own culture within our community to these teenagers. So what happens is we put them into the schools, they learn the American way, or they learn the British way, and then what happens? They come back home and then they rebel, because you're giving them the culture and they're confused. How many of our parents out there, right, that can say they even actually taught their children how to spend money or how to save money? Or even, let's even go even to the nitty gritty, because I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything. Which parent has taught their child about sex? Which parent has said, this is how you do sex? Which parent has told their child that these are the consequences of sex? Majority of the time, even if you think back, even on the first time you had sex with somebody, you did it out of going into the wilderness. You didn't know what you was doing. You just knew what you heard, because you're a product of that environment. Your friends say, yeah, sex is good, and you did it. But these are the kind of issues that we have with that age. But then the vital age that I say that is very difficult to deal with, because they've made their mind up, are those ones that are 17 and 18 to 25. They've made their minds up. Whether they want to be on the street, or they want to be working, or they want to continue going to school, they've made their minds up. So they ain't going to even listen to what you're going to say. But what do you see about that in New York?
Well, I think that's generally anywhere. So the babies,
yeah,
the babies you can do a lot with. So you know, it's easier with them. They're a lot more, not to say influential, and they're open to things. They just want to have fun, and they're open to learning. And depending on how those children were taught is going to lead into, for us, those are the junior high school years, 6th to 8th grade. It used to be 7th to 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade, but now it's 6th to 8th grade, and elementary years is up to 5th grade. And in that age group, as a teacher, that age group, because of, the puberty and the different things that they're going through at that time, it's generally a lot more difficult to deal with them, just because of their energy. And like you said, not so much loss, but the fact that they're finding themselves, they're developing themselves. The boys, we develop our muscles a lot during that age group, and that age range. The females start to develop their body, their bodies, their breasts, all of that starts to develop in that age range. And so there's a lot going on in that age. And so just as an educator with any group dealing with junior high school kids in that age group, they're off the wall. But that age group is extremely intelligent right now, and so being able to cater to them is very important for us as educators and people that develop in the community, because they make the next group, the 14 to 17-year-olds. And so for us in here, in our program that we have, we kind of broke it up into that, where we're not really focused on the junior high school students right now. Yeah. But it depends on how many students we enroll in our program this semester. It depends on, depending on the age groups and different things of that nature, that'll determine if we're going to do a junior high school age. However, it's difficult to deal with them because of their energy levels for a lot of teachers. Now, the older group, they're more set in their ways, or developing the setting of their ways because of what they went through, because of those prior years. Yeah, so the environment. But now dealing with them, to me, it's still, not to say like you said with money, but in New York and a lot around the cities, other cities, the children are very developed. So they understand money. They understand jobs. They understand developing in their mind so they can make money. It's encapsulated in a weird shape because they're so free spirited or free open minded and just careless.
But let me just put a little note on that, right? But then, do they actually think they know about money?
Well, because they're seeing it more than ever.
Yeah, I understand that they're earning the money, but do they actually understand what money is about? Because the problem that I kind of find on an international base is that it's more based on the resources and things of potential that can create money. Like, for instance, you ain't gonna get Donald Trump counting every single penny he has in his bank account. He's going to look at how many businesses he holds, where as a black community, we calculate how much money in notes we have. But really, is that really worth anything?
It depends. With the community, there's a group of black men right now who are going to be graduating, who just graduated out of these historical black colleges, community colleges all over the country. And even if they have debt, they have availability to credit. They've been taught to be entrepreneurs. You know, one of the brothers that volunteers and works with us, they're on that same level. You know, he's doing market on mortgage loans. He got his credit up. He's opening businesses. You know, and so there's a whole group of these brothers who are being overlooked, and sisters, of course, who are being overlooked. Yeah, like, it's a new class of them, and they're not responding to the elders that much because, in their mind and in their right, they're more educated. You know, they look at you and like, oh, you don't even understand the computer. You don't even understand the internet. You don't even understand Google Docs. You don't know about money. You know, you don't even know how to do your own web. These kids are coming out knowing how to make websites. They're coming out programming. They're understanding a lot of different things that we have to also look at them as that, you know, not only connotated towards, you know, the children who are in extreme unfortunate situations, you know, and look at it, you know, like in here, I try to blend them together so that way it's you got the successful ones and the ones that comes from extreme hard situations. Let them communicate, let them build, and that way you can exchange ideas and experiences so that they can develop. Because, you know, the playing field is completely changed right now in our community, you know, and
but then in that format, right, let's just go back a bit in the thing that I don't know how it works in America at the moment, but when I look at certain things, I understand the youth have a mass amount of knowledge, but because of their age, they have very low of wisdom. Now, what I've been noticing is, even if you look at even in the form of the church, a priest or bishop or whatever they want to call them, it takes them, back in the day, it will take them even 40 years. Like, even if you look at their pope, how many years did it take him before he even became the pope? It took quite a long time. But now, when let's look into the community of the black churches, they're learning to be a priest within 2 years, a year. Because they feel that they are knowledgeable, but really and truly, when you actually ask them certain questions, they haven't done their research. Because the one thing that they would say is, oh, if they would look at like a Bible, or a Christian would look at a Quran, he would dismiss it and say it's pagan, but he's never even read the book. And this is why I always say sometimes we have to look at that author to able to understand the book itself. So as these youth today, as I said, is chasing the money, the money is, to me, is like the book. The resource is like the author. So when we were talking earlier about zip codes, we look at something of the maximum that we can do within that community. So let's say, for instance, we have 5,000 in a community. What would you rather choose? A 5,000 in one community or a 5% of 50,000 people across the world? This is the access that we have with the internet. But then does these youth actually see that, the value? For me, they just see cash. This is the reasons why we're finding it very difficult to able to build. Is there any comments that are coming up?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody wants to ask any information, just go to the thing. Please share, please subscribe, you know, like, you know, everyone must like. Come on, put it. We only got 19 likes. Come on, keep on liking it, so that we can see the numbers going up, because we need to grow here. But yeah, so I'm just looking at in the perspective of looking at the parallels of New York and looking at the parallels of London and most every other city anyway, because every city, one thing we like to do is box ourselves because of the system is, you know what, I'm repping this postcode or this zip code. This is mine, and I don't want nothing else. I just want to stay here, live here, die here. But the problem that I find with that, does that leave you a legacy worldwide, or does that leave a legacy within your own hood, which will be forgotten?
I think the conscious community is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of our religious leaders are doing the same thing. So the youth are just doing, we have to change that. They need to see like, yo, you can do more. You know, they need to see us do more. That's simple as that. They need to see, look at the basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ice Cube is changing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, look, I'm going to show you that we can make our own league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even if I got to rent spaces from white folks and use their stadiums, I'm going to do it. You know, and so we just kind of keep pushing that picture, you know, so
you know what I always say in the perspective of pushing something forward is, it's not going to be the poor people that's going to do it. It's the middle class, the working class.
It's whomever.
Because the working class, if they bring the motivation, then the poor people will follow. Because the middle class is the one that's going to able to use that extra fund to creating the jobs.
I mean, we all, like, in my opinion, you know, not speaking off of some, you know, poetic way, but we all poor.
Of course we are.
You know what I mean?
So but I'm just trying to give it a little bit of a limelight of, we have the working class, we have the person that just gets money off the government and lives their life. You know, but the ones that are getting the money off the government are comfortable. Even though it's a small little bit of money, but they're comfortable. But are you content? Not many are.
I mean, it's just us figuring out ways to develop our community. We just got to look at it like, you might be in the working class because where you was at, she might have been born. And who knows? Like, there's so many different people in different positions in our community that I learned to not even pay attention to. That's why I walk around my fronts. I ain't got them on now. I don't even care about that, because it's like, at the end of the day, a lot of us with our noses in the air, we put them in the air because we're trying to put it like white folks. You know, and I'm not trying to be like no white person. I don't give a damn about these crackers.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we learn to think like that and say we need to develop our own and just focus on that, like let's focus on getting
staying on that lane.
But
then this is the one thing that I would say. Then if we stay in our lane and we stay as a community, then what we need to do is to reach out to other communities, but we still stay as our own. But reaching out to that other community, giving them the same form of prototype of what we're doing and letting them do it, and then able to create in some form of network amongst each other. Because if we look at how does a nation get built, we can look into the past. First, some people might say, you know what, they want to build a church or a mosque or a lodge or some form of establishment building. Once you've got that, the second protocol is to build a school. You build the school on the strength of that, and then after the school, we need to build health. We need something where we can look after our old and look after the young and so what, and then to able to build an economical system. That's how a nation building is supposed to be. But the problem is that when we have a community that there is so much division and everybody, like for instance, we're the only ones that has how many religions in the black community?
It's a lot.
Then we're gonna look at, are we this, are we that, or are we indigenous? Are we black, dark skin, or are we light skin? Are we tall? Are we short? We start to divide ourselves. That sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do you even know your next door neighbor? Many don't. When's the last time you've actually gone and knocked on your next door neighbor for a bag of sugar?
Well, I mean, what I learned, we got to. I don't want to sound esoteric with, but you got to speak it into. I believe in word. I believe I use word sound power. You know, and like you got to speak certain things into just to existence, and just to give it that strength consistently within logic. So it's like, even when you say problem, for me, I say challenge. Like when the challenge we got to fix. You know what I mean? So that way we can just be in the process of moving towards it. We put a lot of
for me. Okay, then if I want to put it in that perspective,
we always developing towards it. You know what I mean? Like
I don't see anything as a form of a problem. I see everything as a form of a solution. So in my format, then if I know that I will have to do my form of research to able to solve the solution. But the great thing is, if I can't solve it, I ask someone or I pass it on.
Right.
And if they can't solve it, you have to able to have that strength to letting it go, because it is what it is. You can't change it no matter how it's gonna go. But as I said, you have to find solutions of everything, because the greatest thing is when you're not able to solving something, when you see something as a problem, you're only causing stress and headache and being flustered and arguments, and it has a ripple effect, and it starts to affect you in your whole life. So for me, I always say that we have to find a form of a solution in that format. So yeah, and the most greatest thing, as I said to you, even with Marcus Garvey, there is attributes of what he's done. That's one thing that we seem to do, is have this negative mindset of trying to pull the worst things out of people instead of the great things of people. So we take certain things, okay, it's the past, it's the history and whatsoever, if that's how you want to see it. But you got to see in life, if you ask yourself this big question, what is new in this world? In the last 10 years, tell me what is new. Right. Well, unless we look at it in the form of upgrade. Everything has always been there. It's just been upgraded. So if we take what we see in the past and upgrade it, we can be successful. So if we look at the world today and its perspective, before we look at us as a community, is looking at, okay, we look at the Asians. The Asians, I call them the replicators. I see the Europeans as the middlemen. I see the African people as the creator or the resourcer, because they've got the resources. But there's one giant that's sleeping, and that's the African diaspora. Whether people like it or not, you can say you're an indigenous or whatsoever. But as an African people that live with the Europeans, we know all three. We know how to be the middleman. We know how to replicate. We know how to we know how to get the resources. So why isn't we able to go to every community and looking at what resources they have and able to do that form of exchange? Because these are the things that we need to teach our children. So going back to our babies now is like what you're doing is like what we have in London. We have what we call Manhood and Womanhood Academy, the rites of passage. They deal with a certain range of ages. So they deal with that the babies, and they deal with the teenagers, tweens, and that kind of stuff. Then you've got that what we call the 17-year-olds and above, the ones that are on the street doing their thing. We have this thing called gang. Now, gang meaning guiding a new generation. And guiding a new generation is for people to able to come forth and speak their truth. Come on, just talk. Let's find a form of a solution. What can we do? How can we help? If we're in contact with each other, then we can say, you know what? I know you like music. Oh, you know what? I've got QUEBUTTER in the US. I can send you straight from London and say, you know what? Come and check QUEBUTTER. QUEBUTTER can do X, Y, Z in the music business. Vice versa. These are the more that these youths can travel, because the one thing that you understand with us black people, we are travelers. We're not meant to stay in one place. This is what the system is doing. It's dividing us, but keeping us boxed so they can monetize you. But once you start moving from one place to another, you're seeing different cultures. So your ideologies will change. But as I said, with New York and London, it's a parallel. Whatever's happening in New York is happening in London. And as I said, like, you've got Nation of Islam in London, you've got Nation of Islam here. You've got the Wahhabis here, you've got the Wahhabis in London. You've got even Tazoriak's team. you got them in the UK. So
do you see that as do you think it helped the UK's black community?
No, because it's still creating division. Because we're
still making division.
Yeah, because the one thing that I kind of see is where we are looking at ideologies and looking at what the books are saying, but we're not looking as a people or as a color or as a family. We've already destroyed that family in the form of like what we call gender, understanding what gender is, male and female, not as in you go home and have male and female sex, as in there's a male and female in everything. Once we understand there's a male and female in everything, then we know how to deal with things. This is why I always say, in them people there with the rainbow color, they need to get out, because really and truly, when you have two men together or two women together, that's like two positives or two negatives. When you have two negatives, what is that? That's an atom bomb. That's an explosion. That's an abomination. So why are we going to destroy the family? When was the last time you actually went back to your house and had Sunday dinner or cookout? Not many people are doing that no more, because they want to destroy that family unit. But that's in business, it's in everything. If we don't have teams and we don't have who's in certain positions, how's the business going to work? Because everybody wants to be that selfish. Greed, because we go back to what these youths are seeing, all about the money. They see money, they're thinking at the money, but then they can't put that money in the bank. So they pack this money in shoe boxes, they pack this shoe underneath their beds, they pack them all over the place. But what can you do with that money? You go and buy 2 Versace clothes, 2 Gucci clothes, you buy this, but can you give that pair of Gucci shoes that you paid so much money for? Can you give that to the the 5th generation in the future? You're gonna dash that in the dustbin. That's money. You might as well put that in, like, might as well make them trainers into crack and smoke it, because that's what it is. No one's doing no real estate. No one's doing no investments. No one's even saying, you know what, let's look at go abroad. And this is what I'm trying to do, is showing people that I can take stuff from America and take to the UK and bring things from the UK and bring it to America, because there's a lot of things that we don't have on both sides of the pond. So if people are seeing this, and then on a bigger scale, if we even look at even when the slavery was around, we were the commodity. They were making big peas out of us internationally. They didn't say, yeah, let's go to an area code and deal with a community and say, you know what, yeah, let me just shop this guy here and sell this guy here within just that community. They did it internationally. So they say, you know what, let's go to Virginia here. They might need a couple niggas. Let's go to the Brazil. They might need a couple niggas. Let's go to England, just drop a couple there, drop some in France. This is international business. And when we look at when we was a commodity, you can look at other things. There was coffee. There was, as I said, the British were the biggest drug dealers in the world. Not even Colombia has nothing on England. They flooded the whole country full of opium, which was China, and made the emperor surrender, and the emperor ended up being in debt. And it's only recently that they gave Hong Kong back after they finished just paying their debt. So you can see that the Chinese people's mentality is always against these Europeans because they fucked them over. You understand? That's the mindset.
They're confused though. I think a lot of them. There's a weird play, and I was talking to somebody yesterday about that. How do they promote Black Americans in London?
Okay, how we promote Black Americans? Black Americans are the biggest promoter. They don't even realize how big they promote themselves. I say this: if Jay-Z went on stage today on a big let's say on the what's that thing on the when they do the when they come out the Showtime thing, when they come out and they do their little rap or they're singing. Imagine Jay-Z coming out there wearing a dashiki. What would that do?
Well, thousands of dashikis, though.
Exactly. If we look at today, they got this what we call the football, which they have got the World Cup going on. Now, Nigeria had they smashed the top selling jerseys. Yeah. The top selling jerseys of clothes, of their jersey top. They smashed every football kit in one period of time. But who does that money go to? Goes to the big sports companies. Because why? They're making their money internationally. Jay-Z didn't make the money just by being in his hood.
What about the media? How does the media portray Black people?
Okay, you see, the one thing I say to you with America, compared to even England does it, the perception that they will provide for people is Manhattan. Let's use New York as perspective. Do you ever hardly see anything of Brooklyn, Queens, or Bronx, really, unless it's to do with hip hop?
That's what they say is Manhattan.
It's Manhattan. Most people, when they're coming there from abroad, they're thinking, yeah, New York's got all these skyscrapers and all this stuff. But they'll never show the poverty side of it. So everyone thinks that, yeah, you know what? They don't need no help. They're wealthy. But they don't see certain man they on the train starving, asking for $1. They don't get to see that. But they'll do the reverse. If they go to a Caribbean or go to an African country, they will never show them the good things, but then they will show them majority of all the fuckeries that is going on. So when man's shooting, unless it becomes like what they call it, Chicago, where it's a mass and it's affecting them, then they start to make their little noise. But then they will silence it and put them out of the picture. Same thing with the police brutality. It was a massive hype at one stage. Okay, now it's just gone quiet.
And it's still happening. You're not a quiet stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely still happening.
But see, so the English perspective, I'd say that Americans are in the forefront of media in the format that everybody's watching. This is why I say with other media groups and media teams and whatsoever, they don't realize the potential that they have. It's a money breaker. If you use it in its right perspective, even in the forms of advertising, even in the forms of promoting our own stuff, remember, YouTube is worldwide, Facebook is worldwide, Instagram is worldwide. It's not just your hood watching. So when you're putting something up there and you want to run around in your naked self, especially these young girls running around their naked self, remember the whole world is watching it. So it's not just about, yeah, your hood's watching, the whole world's watching. And if someone recognizes you, they'll pull you up on it.
Quick.
And how are you gonna handle that?
Wasn't this you? Wasn't it? Did I see you in the video?
Yeah. So imagine like even a girl in London parading herself all stupidly, and then as soon as she gets to the clubs in America and they recognize her, they're gonna be pulling her up for the wrong things.
Wasn't what's your take on? So all right, so you feel like do they showcase? How do they showcase the poverty of Black America?
The only time that they show the poverty of America is either when there's brutality or like the New Orleans floods, when it affects others. You see, when it affects Europeans or Caucasians or how we want to say it, when it affects them, then they will portray it on much of it. It's the same thing over in London.
I was gonna say, because I don't even know what the ghetto looks like in London.
Exactly. They'll portray, they'll give you the Big Ben, they'll give you the Oxford Street, they'll give you the lights and the flashing lights and saying, yeah, these guys are flossing, driving big expensive cars. But yeah, there's still crackheads around the corner.
So what's the Black community like in London?
Okay, the Black community in London, it has its plots and its spaces where, as I said, like if you come into London, you can go to places like Tottenham, Brixton, Streatham, New Cross, East London. But at the same time, in London itself, like New York, gentrification is rife. And you know what? I don't even say sometimes it's the European man that's creating the gentrification. Because why? The majority of the people that are in Americas or here or in the UK, the one thing is that most of them had properties because they worked so hard. They did 24-hour shifts to get in this house. But what happened was they got tired and they end up dead. So when we look at that perspective, now there's a house. This person's got 6 children. What do the 6 children do?
So
they sell it. No Black man's gonna buy that house. It's gonna be a white man. Or it's gonna be someone with big money.
Come and fix it up. Right
and then what happens? He buys 1, he buys 2, he buys 3, and then what happens to us? We start to move out because they're buying all the houses and then they're forcing you to move out. That's why when you see Brooklyn and the Brownstones, who made it famous? It's not us. Then now the Brownstones are very great now. Now it's a house to have. How much of the house is it going for now?
That's a fact. Exactly what you're saying is what it is. As soon as this one comes in, buys it, now the property value went up and it's close to the city.
Yeah.
So the ghetto is close to like the main parts of the city.
Yeah. So then you will get certain ones. And like how you have what you call projects, we have what we call estates. So, but what's happening now is most of the tall buildings get pulled down. So they're building houses and apartments. Like they have this thing of to contractors that every time they have a space, they must give a percentage to
poor people, or low income.
So, yeah, or what we call in England, we call it the council. Which means it's like, how can I put it in the States? It's the community who's in charge of like the mayor, and they have the housing people. So they will allocate, they'll give them the housing. But what the housing people are doing is semi-privatizing because they're more on the conservative side. So what happens is that they'll bring these housing associations that are funded by businesses. So, but the house association is indirectly the government's own, but they will say that this is private. So every time they push out these properties, they push quite a lot out. So as I said to you, in most of these gentrifications, I don't know if they're knocking most of the tall buildings down, but this is where they will knock that tall building and build houses. And then what they do is they push you out. So they'll say, you know what, you can't live in Brooklyn. You might have to move to Detroit.
Yeah, they kind of, what they're doing here is they either buying, redeveloping, pushing the property value up, and then driving out everybody else because of the taxes, or they're rezoning certain areas where they weren't allowed to build before, and now they're building tall buildings.
Yeah.
And moving in Midwestern white folks who can afford these rents and moving them in there. So now that, a 1-bedroom apartment, $1,500, $1,300 to $1,500, $1,700, 2-bedroom, $2,000. in those areas all the way up. It keeps going up. So it's just, but it's driven largely by, like you're saying, in Harlem. Some of the first gentrified parts of Harlem were created by the Abyssinian Church.
Yeah,
you know, and so like you said, you know, the black church sold the properties, brought in the first white people, brought in the first condominiums, and we're like, look, we're gonna get it. Strivers Road, in and of itself, in Harlem, was developed as a tool to gentrify Harlem.
That is like, you know what was crazy? Like even when I was down Harlem, and I saw coaches parking outside the Apollo for people, tourism, to come and see the
For them white folks,
for the ghetto. When did that ever happen?
Oh, that's been going on for the longest.
But you understand where I'm going with this? It's the same thing that's happening in London. Is that they now, like Brixton, is the same format. Brixton has now been gentrified. They've now put these posh little shops in Brixton where the Europeans own it, but they're mixing with the black people of the community. But what they're doing is that they know that the community can't afford some of this rent, so they high grade that rent. Yeah, so they high grade that rent in that format.
And the marketplace. They had a group of rabbis in Brooklyn who were locked up for changing the market value of Brooklyn. And driving up the market value of Brooklyn so that they can get out other people, you know. And it's a game, you know what I mean. And largely they're making money off of they're making money off of whites, and then for us over here who have the property, because it's blending out now. After 10 years of hard gentrification, certain neighborhoods gotten complete and taken over, and then certain neighborhoods that were black owned, like this neighborhood here, gentrification's gonna hit differently over here because everybody knows now, like, look, I'm not selling my house unless this white person comes.
Yeah, but this was happening. This was happening in London as well. Some people want, but it's a thing. Now, if grandmother dies and leaves the house behind, six people have got entitled to that house. Now, what would you think that they would do? They would want to sell. So then, but then the money that they get, splitting that money to six people, that money that is not their own, because the one thing that you understand, when you find money, you blow it because you know that you didn't work for it. So that money that you're getting, that you're splitting amongst all the siblings, is peanuts. So why would you want to sell a house when you can make that money via rent?
Some people, I just have my own, excuse me, I'm eating this raisin bread. Some of us don't want to deal with it. Some of us aren't acclimated to the whole idea of renting. Some of us don't have the money to renovate the space to get it. So that's, I believe, what happened to my, I don't know what he is, grand cousin, uncle. One of them cousin uncles over there, and grand something. My great grandmother's great grand aunt's son. So I don't know what he makes him. He's like a grand cousin. She died, left him the property, and he sold it for allegedly $2-3 million, and changed his phone number, wiped himself off the face of the earth, and bought a condo, and nobody in the family could find him. You know, and stuff like that is like exactly what you're saying. That makes gentrification so detrimental for the community because
and what makes it worse is, what is it going to leave for 5 generations deep?
Nothing, you know.
Because, you know, let's even out there, right? We can ask this question: can anyone identify, let's say, going back 5 generations back, their great grandfather, and tell me his first name?
Yeah.
If that is the position that you can't mention that name, then imagine 5 generations ahead of you. Would you like to be in the same position?
That's also because we had these damn crackers. You know what I mean? So
because most of these crackers at the end of the day, or let's just call them European. just to make it simplified. But if you notice how they survive on their name. Every single family, even the Queen and whatsoever, and all these people, like 5 generations time, Donald Trump's great-great-grandson would say, yeah, I'm part of a Trump foundation. The bank will just say, you know what, here's a check. We say our surname, they tell you the fuck out of it.
That's you know what? That's the family ties.
Exactly.
What y'all see here is the beginning of that. You know what I mean? Born rich, you know what I mean? That's the beginning of that. Where his sons and my sons be linked with your sons. Yeah. You know, and that's the next generation. Where we need to write that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that. Like, look, these are the families that I've met. And this is the next generation. Like, matter of fact, that's simple enough for us to do. You know what I'm saying? Where we just start logging in our families. Like, look,
exactly.
This is the next generation. This is the next 2 generations of Black empowerment. And so we want to have it organized where we know where we at.
Yeah, because if you look at it like this. Who has logged the last 10 years?
What?
Who has logged any history of the last 10 years?
Yo, bro, we all over the place. I be listening to us. I'm like, damn, bro. So shout out to Sai. He wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't know him without Sai. So shout out to Sai. We got to step up the administrative side. We got to step it up, Sai. We got to step that administrative side up. Man. Need some more help. You know what I mean?
Because this is where unification comes in.
You got the platform.
Once we can support each other as much as we can, regardless, we know what everyone's lane is. Everyone has a different lane. Mm-hmm. Everyone is different. Not everyone's the same. So if that person needs to help build up their platform, we need to help build their platform, and vice versa. We need to build up each other, because if we're going to build this economy, we need to be unified, not segregated. Because the more segregation it is, they just look at us as idiots.
Mm-hmm. I think the conversations also, like you said it, go to the author, but you said it from even before that. Yo, Q, I don't discuss religion. Waste of time. Religion talks, waste of time. Gets us nowhere. Move that out the way. We can immediately start working on Google Docs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Programs, sharing that curriculums. Mm-hmm. So that way we know, boom, next generation, next generation, his kids and my kids, we already planning that. Like, in 10 years, our kids gonna link up. You know what I mean?
And this is, and as I said, it's when you look at the unification, let's just putting all the religion aside. Just look at the past and looking at following the money trail, because I've got a book coming out soon, which it will identify how people made their wealth. Because if you look at how they made their wealth, it will now show you how people are maneuvering. So regardless of, even if religion is the most powerfulest thing, but then we have to look at who the author is and how he used it to make his wealth, because this is how they convinced the African people to be coming into that form of religion, so then they can be able to be superior. Because at the end of the day, if you have a king in Africa respecting and making a priest a hierarchy to him, and then the priest is is below the king of the European king, then of course the European king can say, you know what, I want 4,000 slaves. You know what? Tells the priest that the African king has no reason, but he has to oblige to it, because he's following in their doctrine. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, you don't get the millionaires and the billionaires talking about religion, because it's the same thing as what we call the lodge. We can put all the spookism everyone likes to say about Freemasonry, but the one aspect of that lodge is that they are galvanized. They are a set of people that are doing what they need to do for the best for their community. That's why they have that number one rule: brotherly love. It's, when once you can able to do that, I look after you. You're my brother's keeper, and I'm able to look after you. And then when you're down, it's vice versa. Mm-hmm. We look after each other. We bounce each other back up. We look at what we need to do. So this is the first protocol that we have, and everyone's seeing right now, is that we have a media. We've got an open door for this media. Now, Now we can access these things in the form of our media and able to analyze the situation, because this media is in like as what Claude Anderson has been teaching us. You know, the Claude Anderson has given us the wealth, has given us the political ladders. It's given us many stuff. So I just want people to come up and ask some questions. You know what I mean? What do they think about the UK, or what they have heard about the UK, and vice versa, what I've heard about America. If you have anything to say, please put that in the chat room and talk to us and explain. But while we're doing that, I would love you lot to share, like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed.
Or give them your page.
Or yeah. And you know, this is what we're trying to do: is negotiating and finding the common denominator of able to working with each other. We need to able to work with each other, not segregate and say, yeah, I'm just doing it for my community. You know, you need the Hebrew Israelites, you need the Nation of Islam, you need the Nawabians, you need all of these people to come together. Our membership is the color of our skin. We unite in that format, and then at the end of the day, what we do is we sell to the mass, but we circulate the money amongst our own.
Amongst who? Amongst who?
Unapologetically black.
And so you see, like, this is the internet. Oh, give them your channel again.
Oh yeah, Black Ice TV 7, all one word, as in Black Ice. As you see, QUEBUTTER's put it up there, but he's missed out the 7, so it's Black Ice TV 7, all one word. Check it out, because we have like scholars from the Caribbean, we have scholars from the UK, we have scholars from the States, as you know. And you know what? There is metaphysics, there's all different subjects. But the one thing that you got to understand, these are all schools of thought. You don't have to subscribe to it fully. You just take what you need to able to build in yourself. Because the one thing that we are starting to do is trying to do self, but that self has become selfish. You know, because that self that we're supposed to learn is supposed to unite that self with someone else's self, so that we can able to build in a form of a joint adventure. We're missing these tools. We keep on being selfish. People buy cars for who? You buy it for yourself. People buy houses for who? They buy it for yourself. You buy clothes. You buy it for yourself. When's the last time you said, you know what, let me buy an outfit for someone that has nothing? Let me give my neighbor a t-shirt because he has nothing. Let me invite one of my friends that doesn't have nothing to come and have something to eat. But yet we want to go to the restaurant and spend hundreds of dollars or hundreds of pounds and not think twice. We'll go and buy something for $100, $200. All you need is $20 for someone to go and get a quick good meal. Even if you say you did that once a month, you're making a ripple effect. You're creating a change. That guy might get that one food, and he may get a good job with just that by eating that food. And he might come back and say, you know what, QUEBUTTER, you know what, thank you for giving me that food, because that food made me go and look for a job.
Everything counts, man. That's what
Everything counts.
Everything counts. You gotta have your nose in the air. You know what I mean? No snob nose pedestal like shit. Just put the work in. You know what I mean? See somebody hungry, buy some food, buy some books. You know, support however you can support it.
Yeah. So by thinking in that way is able to support in each and everyone that is trying to put something in that community. And this is where it comes back to the youth. If we want to create a legacy to give in the youth, we need to create our own. We need to build our own. We need to be able to give something for the youth. So whether it's books, building a school, because you know the one thing is we're the biggest talkers on this planet. we can talk to the cows come home.
Facts.
You know, you see it in the churches, you see it in the motivational speakers, you see it in the scholars. We can speak all day long, but when are we going to take this action of the work that they've given us by speaking and bringing it into the reality of what we need to do for our children? Because right now, anyone that is born now, it's not about you. It's about that newborn baby that's coming out tomorrow. So we need to be able to unify and come together in that situation. But some people say, oh, black people are this and black people are that. It's because we sugarcoat everything. Why should we be in fear of our youth? Because if every adult stood up today and said, you know what, enough's enough, it will change tomorrow morning. But because we're scared of our youth, because we've created that gap, we as elders have now created that, what we say, we've got the wisdom.
It's like that in the UK. So let me ask you that. So the contest says in the UK, do you see them in the garrison, in the ghettos?
No.
So we got to make
that gap is rife in them, because most of all these old organizations don't have no youth in there.
Yo. So that's context. That's number one on the thing. Get the youth involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From UK, from here, I did it an interview series downstairs with the youth, or a program of the anti-violence and music thing. I forgot who did it. And we should do something like that. You know, when you go back up there, let's find a time where we can link, and you get 4 young brothers, and we get the youth to link up. I have my sons to get some other kids in the program, and let's link them up. You know, Soli Dolo, he gave me a crazy idea. We were building up a camp and having an area. Let's get a space down south, or even if we get let's do down south where it's kind of simple and get a bigger space. You know,
I got a guy. They've got they do farming, right? And they sell fruits and all that kind of stuff. And it's in the city, but he's got like 4 acres. And he just grows tomatoes and all sorts of kind of things. But what he does is he gets groups of youth to go and grow their own stuff and able to sell their own food. So if they're growing apples or whatever they're growing, he will teach them even how to sell that.
Where's he doing that at?
He's doing that in the UK, in London.
See, we need to link all these different people that's doing these things, because there's people doing similar things like that in America. Let's link it up. Let's share. And I want to promote I'm promoting open source. Let's stop selling each other information. Now, if you're selling time and your experiences, that's different. But if it's just plug in here, add here, move left, do this, and it works, we need to stop selling that, because now we're looking crazy. And the white community is not doing that with each other no more. They're actually providing each other with free information, so that way they can develop each other and building off of it. So we need to start doing this, so that way we're not having debates in 2028 about the same Bible and shit.
And the greatest thing is we so neglect the Caribbean and the Africa, because, like, for instance, let's use a couple years back. Let's use aloe vera. If we didn't know better, we'll think that aloe vera was a European thing. Now, Africa has a whole heap of products that has not even reached into England or America. So, like now, the big phenomenons are coming in, like the moringa. We should be in control of that. Because if we're working in groups, as in being the middleman, and then able to get in the connect, as if we were doing a drugs deal, going into Africa, picking up some sacks of these stuff, bringing them back, packaging it, and reselling it out there. Who's in control?
Well, this is going to take a 5, 10 to 15 year plan. Where to me right now, I guess where I'm personally at, we're establishing the necessary connections. We need to find acting liaisons that can communicate between the different parties and different spots. So that way we can exchange the ideas and then focus on key kind of ideas that we can
and
do.
This, and this is the same. If we go to the grassroots, right? The youths that we have in each different areas. Like I've got a guy that works in the Manhood Academy. He goes every summer. He goes and teaches in Africa. Now these youths, what they're raising money to send these youths from London to have a Gambia experience. Whether they like it or not, it's an experience that they will never forget. So, like for instance, me coming over here as an English person, it's an experience that I will never get, because I'm not going to do the same thing I came to do the last time. I'm here right now. Next minute, I might be somewhere else. But the experience that's in my memory will always be there. So the more we bridge these experience gaps amongst each other and say, you know what, this time now, we're all going to meet up in Gambia, or we're all going to meet in Nigeria, we're all going to meet in Ghana, or we're all going to meet in London or in France or in Holland. We create a real unity, a community conference, a unity community conference where we have it in different places every year. So this year we'll have it in London. This year we'll have it in New York. We might go to Atlanta. We might go to Georgia. We might go to anywhere else, or the Caribbean or Africa. We keep on circulating, because what will happen is the youth within each community has the opportunity to travel somewhere else. So then they gain an experience of seeing something that they've never seen before. Those are the kind of things that we kind of need to do on the grassroots level. So it's galvanizing ourselves and teaching these tweens, these youngsters, that, you know what, if you don't travel, you're never going to make that money.
Nah, I definitely see the vision on that. And that's why I say, you know, first 5 years, the first year is just linking up, you know.
Yeah.
Platforms are coming together, pushing it. Like I take my ass to Africa, take my ass throughout the Caribbean, take my ass eventually to the UK, and then connect. You see what I mean? So
I'll give you an example. Sierra Leone right now, right, are open to a lot of things. They've got gold and diamonds, right? They're only going to sell to people that gives them the money to buy, because they had a flood. But the reason why they're selling to the European, or they're selling to the Jew or whoever other people, even some of the Americans, is the people with the money. Now, what's stopping us from doing it is if we had a collection of, let's say, 50 of us, and we all said, let's put $100 in. How much is that? And then that same amount of money, we go to Sierra Leone and say, you know what, we're using our money to purchase this gold and diamonds. We go take it back. We sell it to the jewelers. How much profit are we going to make? When they're selling the bars for less than a certain price.
Well, I think I will put that in the category, because I was talking to somebody earlier, and I was like, sign up towards what you're saying. We just got to organize the goals and say, look, this is the goal here. You know, Black, empowerment, which is what we're going to be able to be. Where are we at? We got to organize where we are all over the country, all over the world.
Because they used to do, because in England we used to do a thing called partner.
With who?
Like a partner. Let's say, for instance, a community of us will all put in money in, and every month someone else will get the
Well, that's a susu.
Yeah.
Certain things like the ideas are great.
Yeah.
Let me show what I done. Like I was talking to somebody earlier. I separated my ideas into this here. This is I don't have a name for it, but I always refer to it. Not a 1 year plan, but I package my ideas into here, so I don't forget them, because they're great ideas. You know, developing the creation of 10 learning centers to 20 learning centers, networking all of the Black daycares. You know what I mean? I love that idea. The daycare, you can take 5 daycares in London, 5 daycares in New York City, 5 daycares in Atlanta, 5 daycares in Chicago, 5 in Baltimore, 5 in Maryland, 5 in Jamaica, 5 in Haiti. And if we get them all to use the same curriculum,
And
Not much influence.
See like that, like the curriculum like that. Now, if we put an economical system behind it, because the one thing that I've always learned is I'm not a true believer in donations, but I will not say no to donations. But the real factor is we need to able to create a form of a business in every situation, so that we don't, how can I put it? We don't rely on donations. Like, for instance, if the government's giving you a certain amount of money, we go and build these clubs or we build this school and whatsoever. When the government's ready to pull the carpet underneath you, they just stop funding you, and then you begin to collapse because you've relied on that money. Now, if the school had a form of an economical system behind it, or had an economical system that was backing it, then it can able to sustain itself.
I have I do call it the circuitry of Black power, and so there's key components of each thing that have to work. You know, our Black financial institutions, our Black entrepreneurial system, Black businesses. Both of these things feed off of and are charged up by our educational system. All of these have to be developed, so that way our hospitals thrive off of, and the social services thrive off of the money made from the community and the taxes collected from the community.
Like even
very simple.
Even with the Black Panthers, what do you call it? That program that they had, and utilizing that program in its protocol. Look at it now; they're still using that system. The Europeans are still using that system, which we have created. And these are the systems that we need to recreate for our own communities.
Well, it's gonna take, and that's what aligning up the businesses. So, you know what I have on, I don't have it on the screen there, but like I have Black businesses. So one, I'm for crowdfunding. You know, it's a tool that's powerful. Donations, the churches, look what the church has done with tithes and stuff. So it's just a matter of, but I understand tax allocation and support. So like, I'm looking for these businesses, and this is just some. So you can be looking for the same ones. If I know I go to London, I know you got an accountant. I know you got restaurants. I know you got
all of them. We got all of them.
We just need to, let's take this year, and just link up this, and let's find this same thing.
But at the same time, this is what I was trying to say. Even though with this, it's still asking for something.
Well, no, we're just looking for them.
But the one thing that, like, for instance, even on normal donations, sometimes I don't like to ask people for money. So what I tend to do is I like people to donate, but for them to receive something.
Oh no, this isn't for donation. This is just about saying, let's find these businesses.
But I'm just saying, support the businesses. The business will support you. So what I'm trying to say is, at the same time, is finding, even from on the educational level, where we can create some form of experience and work by having an economical system behind the school, so that if a child leaves the school, it doesn't have to go outside to get the experience. It can stay in the house and get its experience. So let's say, for instance, you've got the T-shirts. Now, someone might want to know how to print T-shirts and print clothes and whatsoever. But at the same time, it's showing them that how you can turn this into a business.
Well, so that would be, that's called, I don't know, they call it internships?
Yeah.
So that's internship. So in America, it's 120 hours for an internship to have 1 credit, I believe, in college or high school.
Yeah.
So I downloaded a bunch of documents for that. So literally that's the first, but we have to find these businesses. We have to find pro-Black businesses first that we know, like, look, we have 20 Black, restaurants in London. We got 20 Black accountants. And then from there, we're like, look, now we have the internships where the people that come to our institutes can send their babies to learn from real people how to do these trades, how to do these businesses. This is going to take 2 years to get done. But once we know in 2 years, we'll be able to say we have a Rolodex of 500 different types of tire shops. We got mechanics all over the world. Like they got the NASB, the National Engineers, Black Engineers Society. we need to recapture it, capture that.
And but you see, and the trick is, you see, this is why, as I said to you, the international world has a format of they're always looking for something new. They would invest money into something, but you've got to be organized. It's the same thing with Nation of Islam when Gaddafi gave them money. It's understanding because he saw some form of organization. There is many guys out there that are millionaires and billionaires that will fund something that is organized. And it doesn't have to be a so-called, what we call celebrity or entertainment world. It can be someone that's just a businessman investing his money into something that he may see something at the end of it. Because he knows that these people are organized. The flaws that we have sometimes in the community is because there's no organization, and there's a lot of people within it that like to squander because they want to have the luxuries of life. So what happens is they start to pull certain amount of money, the funding starts to get low, then there's nothing to maintain the business, and then it collapses. Now, if we are organized and we don't need nobody because we're sufficient, then it would encourage people to able to donate or able to put or to show that they've got a business that wants to help out. Because sometimes I always say to people, you don't have to put money in. You could just be a volunteer. Just come and that's sufficient enough. That's like a job is like paying money. So it's even if you're being a volunteer for just a couple of hours, just come in every Friday, 2 hours every Friday. I ain't gonna hurt you. You know what I mean? Whether it's evening, afternoon, or weekend, everyone having their little contribution. This is where we bridge that teamwork and family work that we actually need within our community. And as I said, I see the vision, and I know it's going to happen, but is it going to happen in my lifetime? I don't know. But if we at least get the engine rolling, there is something there.
Yeah, I'm all about pushing it, because to me, I don't like to waste time. I'm obsessed with working.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I'm like, look, let's do it right now. Shelly, what's good, beautiful sis? Like, I'm all about let's get it done right now, because between Google Hangouts and Google Docs, that nipped out all of the strategic issues we had in the 60s. You know what I mean? Like, literally, when you go home, we can do a Google Hangouts, share documents, and use Wix, and have a whole platform made to disperse information in that.
Because you know the crazy thing is, everyone's saying, "Oh, we need solutions. The solutions are already there.
Just got to use them.
Got to just use them. And if they're predated old, then you upgrade it. That's all. And so we don't dismiss the past, because the past is our ancestors, and if our ancestors is our past, then why are we going to dash our grandmother and our grandfather underneath the bus? So we take what they have given us, and then we upgrade from what they have left behind. This is what continues the legacy, because as I said, it might take years for things to change, but we're creating an effect to the community of doing things. This is why, as I said, even with the sign there and all that, people might cuss what he does and all that stuff. It may be negative, but he has made a ripple effect. He has created a change, whether it's bad or good. You understand? That's a fact. And so
you're here.
Exactly. It's created something out of nothing. The European man made the money out of nothing. They made maximum profit. We've got to remember this. They made cheap products to get in human beings, got human beings because they had free land. So when they have free land and they got free human beings, what do? They make maximum profit.
That's a fact. Well, this is my drive where we like. I'm sitting here looking at Shelly in the chat room. She's in Cali, probably in Mexico right now. You over here from London, and I'm sitting in Brownsville.
Exactly.
She's about to send us electrical units.
Yeah.
For the babies to learn with.
Yeah.
Right. Our electrical program is now at a certain height. See, look, like him or hate him, we all here. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, she's here because of side cheddar. You know what I'm saying? My bad. Why you put that in this? Since I said it, side netter.
Yeah.
I ain't want to say that. But she's helping me also reorganize because she works in where she works to organize a program. So that it's geared towards really between what we have with the community college, the colleges that in the city, and what she's guiding us, so that way we can organize our electrical program to work forward.
Exactly.
Now you are in UK. When you go back, I need you to take your youth, and we're gonna immediately fuse this here.
So too, it's a simple because like last year we came. There's 5 of us that came. There's a guy called Konsu. He works with the Manhood Academy. He's got that 2-pack book. If you saw it last time, and he's got Man Heal Thyself. No, Sacred Man. Sorry, not Man Heal Thyself. Sacred
Chicago?
Man. No, he did. He's from the UK.
All right.
But he's got this Manhood Academy, which we call the Rites of Passage. Now he deals with the young men, the youngsters, and putting them through a form of a system. Now that system has been working. And it's been giving them much exposure. It's something that I would say that could be great for you to imply that kind of system into the thing, because then what that does is that you're able to take them to certain places, traveling and seeing what is actually going on in other places. So
he does it in the UK only?
He does it in the UK, but they're planning to go to Gambia.
So the brother right there in the chats where I was talking about Soli was just hitting me up. He was on the phone for an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Literally talking about how he wants us to create a program where we can go down. We got to add it on. You got to add it on the plan, bro. Where we build it, we get a space down in South Carolina.
Just tap in Manhood Academy.
No, I'm saying how he has a similar idea.
Yeah.
But I want to get where we can have young men link up with this idea, and we infuse it with like, look, we take the youth from the city consistently and bring them to other places.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say is it's like taking things from the past in that format of taking a system from someone and taking what you need out of it and seeing what will work with you. Because remember, we're all a product of our environment, whether we like it or not, right? There is some form of influence of somebody that you may hate, but that influence is on you because you may not even because it's like having a partner. Your partner, you're going to start picking up the traits of your partner the longer you're with her, or vice versa for the woman. As long as he's with her man, she's going to take attributes from him. Sometimes you end up talking the same. That sometimes when they come on the phone, you're thinking, hold on, I just thought that was my friend on the phone. But at this time, that was his woman because she knows him so well. And she's picked up the traits and he's picked up her traits. So then it's able to doing that in the same form of system. It's able to seeing what we can do here and seeing what we can do over there and finding the common denominator for each other of what works.
When he walked in, the first thing he asked me was, yo, Q, what kind of program you use to edit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're over here talking about, linking up the programs to seeing how we do editing. I'm showing my videos, but that's exactly what he's talking about, where we naturally, build together so that way we can coordinate and share experiences so that way we can develop each other and learn from each other's shortcomings, learn from each other's, successes for the most important part to be able to pass it to the next generation, and that's all. That's why I use the word quantification, y'all. We got to quantify what we're doing, so that way we can write it down and we can come up with our own prophecies. I know the religious community loves prophecy, but we can come up with our own predictions based off of the information that we gathered and be able to say, like, no, I can confidently say that with you, 5 people in this chat room right now, we can actually put together a solid list where I know if I go to London, you already have 5 pro-black lawyers.
Yeah.
So when you go to Cali, you got the same thing in Cali. Chicago, you got the same thing. We need mechanics. We need our engineers. We need our inventors to link together. Our black biologists. We need you to find a black biologist in London. And we need to link them with the ones in New York.
Yeah, and this is why I say to you is understanding. You know, like some people don't understand the terminology of joint adventure, because you see that terminology of joint adventure in that you can have, like it's in the drugs game that everyone knows, you must find a connect, and then once you find the connect, you've got to find the buyer. So in that format of education is that I know that, okay, you're the engineer that can fix bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
I know that this person over here buys bicycles. So what do? I come to you to able to get just probably look for a couple of bikes. I help you help me fix them. And then what do? I go to the buyer that's going to buy the bikes. And if he likes the bikes, he's going to buy. So in that format, we've got 3 people working with each other, which I call unification without association.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to know each other.
That's a fact. Basic business.
So in that format, if we don't need to know each other, so you could be a Muslim, I could be a Christian, and he could be a Nawabian, and we're still working together, regardless, to make the common goal.
I think the key to that is, you know, like core services. You know, we need our plumbers, we need our electricians, we need our mechanics. We need these core people to be linked up.
We need our full craft.
We need our food, you know, so that way we don't have to worry about saying, so even if you're Nuwabian or you're more, look, yo, bro, I need a mechanic. I need, you know, yo, boom, you're gonna send me to someone who's in the cloth.
You know, your car's gonna break down the road, and then you're gonna say, yeah, can I get a Nuwabian or can I get a Hebrew Israelite?
Nah, you know what I'm saying? Nah, he gotta be Moorish. No, that white boy gonna come fix your car in the middle of the night. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna give him a tip.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? So we need to find us. There used to be a book called The Green Book. I forgot the brother who made it, and he did it in the 40s or 30s or 50s.
Oh, The Green Book.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Green Book.
Yep.
That's Gaddafi.
In the U.S.
No, Gaddafi from what's it called?
No, this one was made in the U.S. so black people can avoid the KKK traveling down south.
Okay, but
so
you know
a list of like places you can go to that was safe.
Yeah. Now, if you look, if anyone has the opportunity, look up the book by Gaddafi called The Green Book. It will show you exactly how the whole system works in its format. Because you would see the Democrats, you see the Conservatives, it's all, whether it's the terrorist or it's not the terrorist. Remember, every war gets funded. So understanding that when you understand that every war gets funded, how do they make their money to fund the wars? Mm-hmm. These are people of business. Mm-hmm. So understanding when the British were in the Second World War against the Germans, who bailed them out? People like the Rockefellers. They will give them the money because they've got the cash. These are bankers. These are all guys, because this is what business consists of. Someone can't go for an election unless he gets funded for his campaign.
Well, these crackers is out of here. That's what.
But what we're trying to do is understanding that it's strictly business. Mm-hmm. So when we put business behind everything that we do, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're Nawabian or you're Moorish or you're whatever, or you're light skin or you're dark skin. I'm doing a contract between me and you because I need a business done. Once we get that business done, we can do whatever we want afterwards. If you want to do your religious stuff or you want to do your atheist stuff, that's up to you. That's your personal stances. The problem is that we keep on putting our personal stances in the way of our situation, of our family, in forms of business.
I skip past all that and get straight to the work. You know what I mean? Like, let's find the businesses that's want to work. Because,
exactly.
You know, when we think about the people that's like highlighting the challenges, is like, look, bro, where the businesses at? So I need y'all to find out and send us, yo, where are the businesses at? If you're in the UK, you should be able to hit him up and let him know that you have a pro-black business and you're a t-shirt company. Look, you do freaking roofing and you're in the middle of the UK, link with him. If you do plumbing, link with him. So that way we can find out who's where and where. Next time you come to New York, you should be able to stay in a black B&B. You should be only moved around in black Ubers or black livery cabs. You know what I mean? You should be stuck in black restaurants and everyone. Like, that's the way it should move.
You know what I was just saying before is we need to just take business out of it. Just take the word business. Let's just use the word craft, because it's what you are good at.
That's the principle of Zion.
Yeah. So once I look at your craft, what you're good at, then I'm able to create in what lane you can be put into. So, like for instance, what I'm doing now is able to create, like as you can see, my guy's clothesline. Now I'm taking a bunch of his clothesline back to the UK. Then what I do is I get a whole heap of clothesline in the UK and I bring it back to America. That is becoming import and export. So the more things that I can able to do import and export, it makes and generates money for businesses. So then what happens is when the business starts to go up, then it able to spend to creating to fund things that we need to do. So in the form of having bunches of lawyers, these are all crafts, plumbers, electricians, engineers, you name it, they all come under the category of crafts. Check it out. Check out what crafts are.
Oh no, the underlying principle is I actually have to be a master of the craft.
Yeah, because
everybody on the team is.
Because if you look at even in the forms of the degree, you understand that most of all these are crafts. So, and they patent the crafts, which is your own craft that you've pushed out, and they paint it. And what do they do with it? They create courses. And then when they create the courses, they make money. Where does the money go? It goes to them because they are the only ones that can solidify your own creativity.
Well, that's
crazy.
And that's what, well, in objectifying our goals properly, you know, it's to say like because I know some of us are like we think in an overwhelmed state. And for me, I like to think very compartmentalized, where it's like, this is the immediate goal. I have this brother here, shout out to Sanetta, that's here from the UK. Yeah. And I want to be able to say that by the time you get back to the UK in 15 hours, we accomplished one goal. You see what I mean? Where that one goal is very, simple. And we have California and North Carolina. Literally, he's in North Carolina right there, and he wants to create, and we want to find a space in North Carolina so we can have our own camp. She wants to help build up our program so we can take these programs all over the world. You want to help bring the manhood program that you got in the UK here. So this is literally all. We can meet up right now on Google Docs, fix up whatever document, and make it happen. Do a feed next week and keep pushing it. You see what I mean? Yeah. And each thing is gonna push. The reason why I stress finding these businesses, because in America, and I believe in the UK, you have tax allocation. So these businesses have to pay taxes, right? Yeah. So when you have to pay tax, that tax money is allocated to a specific thing.
And you see this,
right? That allocation, in America, you're allowed to choose where it goes.
Okay.
Most of us aren't educated in the policies of the council. So our businesses just pay and leave it alone. But you technically can take your money that you're supposed to pay in taxes and say, I want to fund your manhood program. And that's equivalent to paying taxes in America.
So now, when you understand, like, besides us having Black Eyes TV, I have an organization called The New Beginning. It creates a form of what we call diplomatic moves. I use a certain word, #power moves. The reason why I use the #power moves is that every move is very close to what we need to do in that format that we highlight every move that we do, because it is a power move, because that's what creates the objective. Now, when we look at these kind of things, now me able to travel and able to combine people together. So bringing people together in that form of joint adventure is bringing the two, like as I said to you, the New Beginning, where we have able to birth one thing that we've got, what is called the core. Now the core works as a diplomat, where we came last year. to the Unity conference. Now we have different people in that call. We have, as I said, we had Ali from Queen of Suez Son in that call. We had two other people we called the People's Verses. We had Konsu. We had Rishi from my Black Eyes TV show. We have another guy. He's one of the first Moors in that's highlight his stuff. Now he does an educational program of showing them certain laws and regulations and whatsoever. But the main objective of the call was unification, looking at people's crafts and seeing what lane it could be placed into the situation. Because the one thing is that we do is sometimes we look at other people's lane and want to jump into their lane. And the problem is with that is that you could have 20 million jobs, but how can you be a master of one? These are the issues that we're governing. We all want to do everything. So in the perspective of what you're doing, and this is, as I said to you, is your school of thought. Understanding that you create that and then we apply to able to doing the joint adventure with your school of thought to able to grow. Like as in the lodge, the brotherly love is you've got your organization over here. How can we support you and how can you support us? And that is where the joint adventure comes in. So in everything you're doing in the forms of the plans and the deliveries and the businesses is now we look at the mirror reflection of it and seeing what we have over here. And then how can we combine some of these businesses together in the form, like for instance, now if I look at what we was trying, one of our plans in the form of creating an app that works as like an Uber, you get Uber Eat over here. Mm-hmm. Now imagine having an Uber Eat, but with Black people's products. Mm-hmm. Someone that able to do delivery and delivers all the products across. So, like for instance, people that eat vegan, it doesn't have to be delivered within an hour. Vegan is raw. So then, if someone's in Brooklyn and someone wanted food in Queens, and it's a Black person ordering from Black business, there is someone that can able to deliver that food. That's a service.
No, bro, you believe it or not, I wrote because there's a brother who was with us and he was driving Uber and deliveries and he said that we should do that. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
we have a lot of these similar ideas floating around. It was just a matter of just using our platform, using the resources we have,
and this is and platforms like this were able to promote it. So if we had the delivery now of that vegan food delivered from one end to the other, and then you put in a telephone number on your media platform, someone's going to be on the media platform saying, "Right, you know what? I can't get up. I'm hungry. Oh, there's a number there." Because you've already put that in the mindset.
That's it. That's what the Green Book also. That's what the Green Book was, finding Black businesses. Because in New York, what we have to deal with, there's a lot of not just in New York, in America, there's a lot of shades to Black. Mm-hmm. And so this is where the conscious community comes in. Where we know I'm supporting Black conscious businesses first. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then I'm doing regular Black. Then I'm going, dealing with the other ones, the interracial ones, and all of those is dealing with whites. Because, for example, my other studio around the corner from it, there was a Dominican store, mm-hmm. Arab store, mm-hmm. and a Black woman. Right? Mm-hmm. Black woman. The Black woman's partner was a dyke. Mm-hmm. And the Black woman was married to a white man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And this was the challenge at that time. We had a full meeting damn, who do we support? The Arab was the only one who knew my name and respected my business. You know what I mean? It was because it was we got to support the Black one. And I'm like, hold on, boy. She got a white husband and her partner's a dyke. Mm-hmm. The Dominican dude, he clearly don't even mess with Dominicans. So it was easy to say, look, if they don't mess with us, we don't mess with them. But the Arab, every time we walked in there, he asked me about my kids, my team, family, queen, everything. It's like, yo, how's business going? Yo, you need anything? And always talking about how we can do business.
But the one thing is, a lot of guys will say, yeah, they only fuck with Dominicans, but white man only fucks with white people. That's in the form of the circulation. But have you ever been to a McDonald's that says no blacks, no dogs, no Irish?
No, of course not.
It's because McDonald's is to the mass.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see an Arab man when you're going to a deli telling you, you know what, because you're this, you can't come in?
Well, it's for us controlling our monetary narrative now, where we say, no, we know where our money can go, because right now the black dollar seems strong, but it fluctuates.
But have you noticed the wave that's been happening?
With what?
Is when a black person opens a shop, and even let's put it on the conscious community. Conscious community doesn't like to sell to anyone else. He just wants to sell to his own.
I disagree. I think, and I definitely I think the products that are found in a lot of these shops, for a lot of times, is only catered to the conscious community, and then it becomes that.
Do you think some of the products, like let's say for instance, I understand the writing on there and things like that, but if, like for instance, if I got this T-shirt on a top celebrity or top sports academic person, a white man won't wear it.
Well, it depends. The culture is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, white people are using blacks to sell white culture in America on a whole different level.
But before they could sell that, what do they have to do? They have to buy into the black culture.
Some of the black culture is already white, and it's just a matter of
before it became white, it began as being black though. Like let's look at hip hop. Hip hop didn't start with a white man; it started with a black man when he would start breakdancing and doing his parties.
It definitely, in creativity, you can make something, but if you can't control the productivity, the consumerism, and all of the key aspects that's followed, that's signed with the business, you don't own it. And unfortunately, that's why this
is what I'm getting at. Now, when I said to you earlier on, and I said that the African people are the resource or the creator, black people create.
White people manage.
Yeah, and the white people don't even manage, they are the middlemen. Because when we look at it, as I said to you before, it's like we look at it in the form of look at diamonds. When diamonds is dug out of the ground, how much is it worth? Nothing. As soon as it gets cut, how much is it worth? Millions. When oil is coming out of the ground, it's worth nothing. When the oil gets refined, it becomes something. Chocolate, cocoa from the tree is worth nothing. Until it's been converted into chocolate, it becomes valuable.
But we're in the process of right now where we have to sell to these businesses their children's success through education.
Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to say.
But to get to the refining part, because we won't be able to refine the oil.
But you see,
if we don't know how to do it.
But listen carefully. What I just said is that if they are going to change the narrative of getting the raw products and then refining it into the original products itself. Now, if we look at what we do, we just create and give away. We don't have the common denominator, because now if I look at the restaurant, now I can look at that and look at the perspective of what we just said. Now, the creative of the restaurant needs foods. So if we create the foods to give into that restaurant, now the restaurant in its format refines, meaning it cooks the food, and then we're able to gain on the other side of it by helping him sell the food. So understanding that most of these European men when they do their thing, how comes every time they take something from someone, how comes they don't have factories in Africa? How comes they don't have factories in the Caribbean? Because they want to make sure on their home soil they have the factories, which will now turn it valuable. So in what I'm trying to say is looking at these businesses, look what goes in and look what goes out. And then once you're providing a service for even the lawyer, let's say someone that's on the street gets arrested, that's something going in. We're able to help the lawyer to getting that person out, making that person into a better person, putting him into the right environment. So if we're looking at those two aspects, then it gives us some form of obligation of change, creating that change.
No, we are. That's what we are right now. We're at the, for me growing up, I
always say Street Fighter. You know when he's get dousing that Indian man there, and underneath it says no unknown.
Oh, well, in New York, I heard.
I always say to people, I'm the age that you think I am.
I'm 37 this year, and I've heard 36 years of these type of conversations.
Yeah,
and like it just like, yo, imagine how much more of these were there. So right now with all of the resources, like, yo, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's the age of taking action and stop talking.
Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's
because
do it.
Because the one thing, as I said, is that we talk too much, that we're scared of our own youth.
Yeah, and the youth are ready to work. Because when I hear the youth, me having a studio, I get to see them in a whole different light, and I understand the disassociation. And I'm happy to be a bridge and helping to be able to inspire other people younger than me to be, even a greater bridge to communicate between you, because they need to see that. You know what I mean? They need to be able to know that I can make certain decisions and have an elder around that understands me, but also can communicate to me in a way that I understand. Because a lot of us lose that ability to communicate, whether it be it through cultural norms or just vernacular, and with the both of those together, you'll separate yourself and disassociate. And then the way in which the youth are processing information now, they're very fast. So they're not going to be sitting here like, how do you think the scamming is going so crazy in New York? It's the youth. It's not old heads. The youth are like, yo, I want to get some money right now. What could I do? Well, I could take this number, put it here, photocopy this, put this here, and go to here, and I can get some money.
See, what does that say? They want things fast.
So we need to speed our game up.
No, it's not even speed our game up. When someone wants something very fast, there's a possibility he may trip. Someone that has got wisdom, if he had the same knowledge, he would be patient, wouldn't he?
It depends on how you play your game.
Yeah, but then what would you rather have? If I said to you this, you can wait 10 years for $1 million or get 10 grand now.
Wait 10 years for $1 million?
Yeah, or get 10 grand now.
It depends. For me, I can flip 10,000 and get $1 million. It depends. I know Abdul, my code D, there's people that it depends on the person, depends how you play ball.
Yeah.
There's people I've seen that came home out of jail, got a brick, and a year later their life was completely different.
But a lot of people have said exactly what you said. They said, you know what, I'll take that 10 grand.
My father was in the same position. They offered when my pops got his 100%. They said, look, you can either take this money now or we can give you a lifetime payment. He took the lifetime payment. You know what I mean? But I'm an entrepreneur. I jump out the windows. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
but then there's some people that are not in that format where they could able to collapse in the format that some people might take that 10 grand and within a week they've blown it.
this goes back to education. Some people will become complacent with $2,500 a month and never push their life because they're like, I don't got to push. I got $2,500 coming in every month. I'm chilling.
Yeah. But you know what I'm trying to say is, if we wait 10 years to get that million, then I'm going to go and find another job and wait for that million.
Some people won't.
Yeah, I know.
Look at how many kids know that their grandmother's dying. So they just, yo, in Queens, I ain't going to say Queens, but I know a lot of people was like, yo, when my mom's died, I'm doing all this with the house. And I used to talk to them like, your whole plan is based off of when your mom's dies.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Because they're impatient. A lot of people are, because of the society we're living in, we're moving in a fast age. So we want everything, like you see on even the battle of consciousness and rap and all this. They're seeking. They're seeking. How many of them people that are seeking information from online are actually going to the places and trying to look for it?
Yo,
you know, family, I want you to know that you could subscribe. Please like as much as possible. Keep on pressing that like button because I know there's more people on there. I want you to press like, share this out, subscribe this, you know, as much as possible, because you know what, this is information that we all need. We all need to be able to find ways of building, whether it's across the pond, within your own community, or even your best friend. When's the last time you've actually gone and talked to your best friend? When's the last time you've said, yeah, let me and my best friend do business? Or even just say, you know what, let me even speak to my wifey or my woman or whatsoever and creating a joint adventure together. How many people have you done that? Or even done a household? You, your wifey, and the children. When have you said, let's all put heads together and creating something?
Well, right now, it's crazy, bro. You got like next summer, we need to plan that. Like Sanetta got the power to do that. We got the power also. But we can say next summer, instead of coming to an award show, let's go meet down south and bring the babies.
Of course.
Let's have one big cookout. You know, we got right. My man Born Rich got the cook the chicken shack in Nashville. You see what I'm saying? Fannie Mae's Chicken. Go check him out. And he's in there. When you said Black Uber Eats, he's like, yo, Q, that would be beautiful. My business is connected. Exactly. So it's there, but we need to know what these businesses are. So we need to immediately get this together. You can email him your businesses. If you're in the UK and you're pro-Black and you're about the mission, please email him. I had a lot of people hit me up. So if you watch this video, that's the UK Connect. I'm going to send you to him. Link up with him. Pour oil. If you got computers, if you want to volunteer, if you want to set up a program, if you got resources, link him.
You know, what I'll do is make you become a tourist again. Because the factor is, within the UK itself, a lot of people, I don't know how you hear it, a lot of people say, yeah, we want to go to Buckingham Palace. Yeah, I want to go and see where the Queen lives. I want to see her. Put that on a down note. And because there is others that you wouldn't even realize that have been positioned in that place. Like, for instance, I will show you places like Marcus Garvey's house. And, you know, there's some places even in the museum where they say, nah, the European man ain't going to let you see this. They will let you see this because they want to know what you're looking for. So they want to see, they will let you see this. You go into the archives, there's records. Because for me doing a business deal with you, we have to sign a contract. And then that contract is based in their archives. This is where they're laughing at us because all their contracts are in there. They ain't going to burn that because they need that solidification. Like, as I said, you check up on every wall. It has a contract. Who was there? Who was fighting? And then when some people say, oh, but where's the slave ships? Most of the slave ships, you're probably living in one of the slave ship houses. They probably use some of the timber to dismantle the ship and build a house. Or what they do, remember, nothing lasts for a long period of time. They have to demolish it. So when you have a ship, it takes them, let's say the ship lasts for 10 years, they'll destroy it. You have a mobile phone. How long do you have your mobile phone before it gets destroyed?
No, I'm with you. I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
and a lot of thought is just, you know, Yo, you know the Germans used to count the bullets they used to shoot at Jews.
Yeah.
And that's just for me, when I heard, I'm like, yo, they were like, yo, it's cheaper to use gas. We need our bullets to fight war. Exactly. And as crazy as that sounds, that's the business of it. A lot of people don't know that a lot of the terms we use in business come from slavery.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Merchandise comes from merchants. You know what I mean? Stock comes from, not just the stock market, but in the concept of stock came
we were the commodity, basically.
And also pillaging, pirates. All of these different things that we come about because of these things.
Even the common craft of a barber. Yeah, when you see people in the barber shop, them barbers back then were surgeons. They only split it into two, where they started to make people to go and do surgery, and the other person to do modify the hair. Those are two separate. They were one thing before. So understanding that there is a lot of things out there that can able for us to do. But when we're dismissing these kind of stuff, because the one factor is we're not unifying enough. We're not helping each other enough. We're not building with each other enough. It's not about just being in Brooklyn. It's not just about being in Queens. It's not even just being in Baltimore. It's not even just being in Atlanta. This is a worldwide thing. We need to able to explore and see what others are doing. So this is what I was saying is the experiences that you would get if you came to the UK. I'm not just going to take you into to go and see the Queen. No, I'm going to take you to the hood. I'm going to show you the people, how the people are. I'm going to show you how they work their businesses. And you have your ideas of how to create something when you go back. You understand? Opens up your mind. Marcus Garvey, he had about 5 different houses in the UK. He had a newspaper business, but people thought he was finished.
Mm-hmm.
He died with his newspaper business and his properties. You understand? They even buried him in the UK because a lot of people don't know that. Because when they buried him in the UK, when after a few years, the Jamaican government asked for his body back. So they took his body from the graveyard and took it back to Jamaica. Now, understanding a lot of these people have done business within the community, and understanding that most of what we're doing, what you're doing over here, they're doing over there. And if it can help each other in looking at the prototypes of how to do things, we can look at each other and build from it. But is there any comments or any information that anybody wants to ask about the UK in the comment section?
Or in the future, what did you think of Akala?
Akala. Is that the artist? Is he talking about the artist? Or is he, because there's a music artist called Akala? Let me see. What do we see? Let me see. Oh, what does he think of Akala? Akala is a music artist. I can break him down in a nutshell. His sister was a woman called Lady Dynamite, who was in what we call the garage. It's like a MC on house music. Now he grew out of what we call because of his sister's fame, he grew out of what we call grime. Now grime was a certain beat line, like kind of like what we call trap music, and then he started to spit. But the one thing that he came from a school of like where he came from this Garveyite school, and he learned a lot of information. So this guy has gone really deep into the information and able to rap about it. But the great thing he's done is able to utilize our history into making it into a profit, a business. This is why he's released his book. But because he's got a massive fan base, whether they're black, white, green, are still going to buy his book, whether it's black power empowerment. The only thing is that some people might find a bit here or there or try to tarnish him is because he's got a white mother.
And somebody said that he's light skinned with dreads?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna look him up.
yeah. So he's light skin with dreads. But I don't disregard him because every information is great information.
Yeah, my thing on interracial mulatto babies, if you're born in 2018 and on, you're not in the club. Yeah, you're gonna have to do a little bit more to prove your position in the club. So if you was born in 1999, 1989, you're a mulatto. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But right now, ain't no reason your black ass should be making no babies with no white person.
No. That shouldn't even be doing
it.
Because we're already diluted.
Yeah, so we understand. So any biracial baby born in 2019, bruh, sis, you've been warned. Like, no, don't try to make us feel guilty because your light-skinned baby is there now, 15 years later, and now you want to be all pro-black. No, we told you, we warned you.
But so in that fact,
that was a public announcement, my bad, y'all.
Yeah. So in that format, that there is other eyes that you can look out for. We've got a guy called GIGS. He does his thing. You've got people like Skepta that did a tune with ASAP Rocky. Yeah, they did a comparison of London and because he's from New York, isn't it?
Yeah, ASAP, he's from home.
Yeah. So they did a song. Check it out. Go onto the YouTube and check out ASAP Rocky and Skepta, and you will see the comparisons that there is nothing different. They both smoking the same joint. They're wearing the same type of clothes. They're exchanging the same type of lyrics. It's the same thing. So you've got people like Skepta. There is many other new artists that are coming up in the English ranks, which they, as I said, they try to keep it the old school way, like how New York used to be. Because the real thing is we love more of lyrical content, and a lot of people are dismissing this because, you know, the real truth is music nowadays and music in general is a product of its environment. So if I'm amongst people that are spending money, I'm only going to rap about money. But if I'm in the hood, then I'm going to rap about what's happening in the hood. Mm-hmm. If I'm in the studio 24 hours and not going nowhere, I'm going to rap about the studio and the people that are in the studio. So I'm only going to rap what's in my environment of that time. And most of the time, most of these new artists are in the studio so much, and because of the money, they can only talk about when they're in the club, when they're in the studio, or when they're running around. Most of these other stuff, them saying they're in the gang and all this kind of stuff, sometimes you've got to be wary, because whatever you spit out can come back at you and hit you in the face, because you're now putting something into the existence. So if I said I'm shooting a whole heap of men down the road and I'm going to be the bad man on the block, then of course there's a repercussion of you saying that, because there's a possibility there's going to be a man out there that's going to test your worth. No matter how hard you are, you could be the most strongest man, but it doesn't mean shit.
Somebody asks, what does the UK have to trade with the US?
What does the UK have to trade with the US?
I'm just specifically talking about the black community, right?
Yeah. So in looking in that factor, the one thing that the US doesn't realize is that we are in the mother's den in the UK. Remember, it's the mothers of all mothers. Now, the one thing that the UK has access to is the rest of the world, because they have family across the world, across the pond. So when you get in a UK person saying, you know what, I'm going to Jamaica to go and check my cousin or my grandmother or my family, he can go there. You got an African person saying, you know what, I'm going to go and check people in Africa. And then you got some people saying, yeah, no, I've got cousins in New York, I've got cousins here. But the problem is with people from the UK, American cats don't have many outside America. So then what it does is that we have a mass of things to offer on the raw perspective. If for instance, we can go to Africa and say, you know, we want to go and get gold. We can go to Africa and say we go and get moringa. We go to go and get shea butter. We can go and get any forms of raw materials and able to bring it to Americas in that format. So if we're able to build together, then we're able to share each other's things, because most of what's in America is more factory owned.
Wow, what else? Somebody else got in there? What's whatever. Oh, shout out to Michelle Edwina. I know that you gave me 3 dislikes, Michelle Edwina.
Yeah, but you know, people that give dislikes are always happy people.
No, they're watching. They still give me a view. They still got to go through the skip ad part. So they still got to actually give you a view and go towards my little.
It's all love. It's all love because it's heart. It's a love in the heart. At the end of the day, I always say negativity is positivity.
Nah, no. Yeah, negativity spot. Yes, because when you bring the negativity and you get your ass whooped, then that's a positive situation for the future because now you've learned.
Exactly. Because if I don't learn from my mistakes, how am I going to know what's good?
Exactly. You didn't pay your bills, you got evicted. Cheated on your girl, she burnt your dick. You know what I'm saying? You didn't put oil in your car, she broke down on the road trip. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole. This is the.
So we have to, because this life is about tests. We're in the age of being tested, regardless.
Somebody asked, how are the people in the UK receiving the conscious message?
Oh, fantastically, because they've been receiving it for many years, even from the days of Dr. Ben coming over, John Henry Clark, to all the way to Umar Johnson, a few others. They see red pill, blue pill. The internet has opened up doors to things that they've never seen before. So even if you go into Africa, they've seen this. You go to, as I said to you, in England, whatever you do in New York, any New York cats, anything that you're doing in New York, we already have the mirror reflection of what you're doing.
So is it gay as shit in London?
We have traffic lights of 2 men holding each other.
What?
When you cross the lights and it says green or it says red, when it says time for you to cross over, you see the little man on the traffic lights saying you can cross over, and there's 2 men in central London. You see them holding, and you've got the circle. The circle with the arrow. Yeah. Has anyone even gone onto Instagram lately and pressed the love hearts?
Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Did y'all hear what he just said?
Yeah, you see?
Hold on, I gotta back up over here.
Let's just listen carefully.
Hold on, say that again. Hold on, you talking about the 2 people that's inside of the crossing, the little yellow box?
You see that? No, we have several crossings here, right? And you got 2 little men this is in Central, and they got 2 men holding their hands, and it tells you to cross.
Yo,
that's how deep they're sending the message.
Y'all hear that?
That's crazy. But even look today. I've gone to Instagram lately, and when you press the love heart, and it does. Remember before you get a whole heap of hearts coming up when you're liking someone's picture.
I'm about to do it now.
No, when it go into one of the live pictures and then you leave your finger on it, you're gonna see something different. You'll see it. Not that one. No. Go to the Go back to the original page. Yeah, people, we're just trying to show something good here, right? If you have the opportunity, go to your Google Hangout, right? And okay, we have people going live, right? Let's choose one. Who should we choose?
Marcel West.
Okay, Marcel West. But watch this. When you see someone going live, leave your finger on the heart.
Oh, what the fuck? Don't do that. Oh, hell no. Wow, what the?
That's what I'm telling you.
Yo, pause.
It's in all of them. You can't even avoid it.
Did that just send to him?
It just sent hearts. But that's what it does. Same mistake. That's what I said to you.
Oh, that's mad gay.
Exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Don't hold down the heart, y'all. Yo, that's crazy. They made South Street Seaport gay. They put the flag around the shit.
Yeah, but
and the lights.
But this is the subliminal mindset.
What about in the hood? In the hood, do you see like is it mad trannies and dykes walking around?
You get that in the more of the West End. We've got an area where they call Vauxhall. They have clubs and all that kind of stuff. We keep that away. We're not really engaging in it.
It's not because in the hood over here, it's crazy in there.
Yeah, I saw
through the hood. Don't let nobody tell you no different.
I saw the She-Man.
Yeah, Harlem gay as shit.
Yeah, Harlem
best style.
Yeah, Atlanta's even worse.
Nah, Atlanta ain't got nothing on New York. I wish nah.
But I saw it. Two of them, and I saw it. It was disgusting. Yeah, and then, as I always say, you know, let's look into reality of the science of it. As I said to you earlier, is if you don't understand gender, you have male and female. The male is the positive, the female is the negative. If you have two negatives, go and check it up. What an atom bomb is made of. It's made up of two negative charges, which creates an explosion, an abomination. Mm-hmm. When you have a positive and a negative, what does it do? When you put it in the socket, it produces electricity. When you have a male and female human being, it produces a child. When you have two women coming together, you have nothing. The only thing that you get is probably AIDS.
This is
because of the abomination. So why are you going to actually destroy yourself in that format? So yes, in England we do have them. We even have the masculine kind of stuff. We anything that you have over here, even though some of the American black guys that are feminine are coming to England to looking for the masculine white guy.
Next subject.
But so how black talk about that?
Yeah, that's crazy. How's black business out there?
Black businesses are up and down. As I said to you before, is finding the unification of the joint venture, enable things to work. The only time we're going to make more money and making the thing right is if we become global. We got to stop coming into this paradigm of saying that it's just about my zip code or my what we call in England postcode. Because the reason being is how many people in your postcode, you got to do the calculations. So let's say, for instance, let's look in Brooklyn. Now we look at Brooklyn. How many black people are in Brooklyn?
Like a million.
It's a million. And then how many, let's say, for instance, you got a product for males. How many male black people that we have in Brooklyn?
1,000, 350,000.
So you can see the numbers are getting reduced to what you're trying to do on your demographics. So depending on what you're selling and what the demographics you're hitting. So if you're having something for black people and you're only trying to sell to black people, your demographics goes way small. Now, what you've got to understand is that we've got to be able to sell to the mass, but what we do is that we make sure that the money is circulated amongst our own.
Got you. That's a challenge in like, so what's going on in America right now that, you know, white people are really upset at the success that we're having. You know what I'm saying? They're upset that they're dying off. They're upset that they're losing control, and they're trying to call. They're doing the little phone thing. I forgot the name of it. So like they're trying to set black people up to get killed by police.
Yeah, but so, even look at it like this. But the thing is that we've gone through slave trade. They couldn't get rid of us. Now, if we look at it like this, the craziest thing that you could ever see is these people were like us. And today, you see how we're messed up? Some of us are dirty, some of us are grimy. This is how they were back then. But they took on whose lifestyle? They took on our lifestyle of looking, they're eating our foods. Don't you see that some of these white girls start to get the big asses and getting these things here? Why do they want to look like us so badly? You understand? But they've realized now they're declining. So what do? They mix.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
They mix. That's why if you understand Blade, what did they used to do to Blade when they capture him?
Take his blood.
They take his blood. so that they can go outside into the sun.
So interracial relationships is huge, I think.
Yes, it was huge at a big time. It still is because of the damn Kardashians making it feel like it's all right to do that crap. But there is still a lot of people that want to keep to their own because they don't want to dilute the situation. But as I said to you, the white, because the thing is our black women, I love them to bits, 100%. But the issue is that they're being, sometimes they can be too hard upon our men. Because remember,
let's reword it. The challenge is to get our sisters to relearn how not to be so hard on us, brother.
Yeah, because
everything works down power. Got put in the power.
Because you got to understand that we are both going through the same form of issues, but the black man is the bottom of that pile. And the problem with the black man being on that bottom of the pile, the reason why the white man will give the issues to giving the white man a little bit of power. Why? Because then you can fall into their laps, so they can able to seduce our women because they will offer and do things that our men wouldn't do.
So let me ask you, do they give more in America? A woman who's not married receives more social services. Is it the same way in the US? Yeah.
Most women that don't have no in the form of having no kids.
No. So let's say if you have children but you're married,
yeah,
you receive less money from the government, less assistance. So in America, they found that.
But we got our system. They get loads of money because the reason being is that what we call social services money, dole money. You see, you see, like how you don't work for it. There is so many benefits that we have that, because remember, our hospital fees is free.
So let me ask you, but so does it make? Do they have a? Because in America, it's very dramatic. That's one policy that changed Black America. The fact that they said we're going to give Black women more money if you're not married.
Yeah.
And that pushed women and people to say, we're not going to get married.
Once a woman has children, it gives them the ultimate power. So this is where it's like, for instance, where you lot have got the prenup. They will, like, if you are even, they call it CSA in England. Even if you're scratching and getting money from the social, a percentage of your social goes to that mother. So you can't even avoid it. Or they will take it out of your wages automatically without even your consent. There's nothing you can do about it.
So child support is a big issue for Black men.
It's always going to be an issue. But the problem is sometimes it works on the benefit of the man, because when he was with the woman or he was giving the woman the money, she was getting good money, where he was offering because it's his children. But now you've gone through the government system,
and now you're getting less.
Now you're getting less.
Gotcha.
But they're still getting money anyway, because you getting housing benefits, you get all different types of benefits, and then you get the children's benefits. So they eat a lot, and this is where some of these crackheads will start using all their money on crack because they can maintain it because of that shit.
See that, y'all? Oh, the word that it was swatting.
Right?
Do they have swatting in the UK?
When do you explain this swatting?
So it's pretty much when a white person calls the police on a Black person in hopes that they'll get killed. So you seen the videos where they got white people calling saying, "Oh my God, they're doing this, they hit me."
White people always do that. Whatever it is, if a white person, this is why we had this what we call the Martin Lawrence case. Not Martin Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence case. Right? If you have the opportunity, Google up Stephen Lawrence.
Stephen Lawrence.
Yeah, and this is where they brought that case called the institutional racism, meaning that the system itself is racist. So even if someone tries to say they're not racist, they're going to move in a racist way, regardless. Because of the system. So they will move slow. They will not do things. So if there's a phone call, even because when we have codings, I don't know how your policemen have coding. As soon as they see a Black youth, they will say "I see free," meaning that this is a Black child. it's a black person. You got IC2, you got IC1, and it goes into categories of who it is. So, you know, for them, as I said, it's understanding that a white woman can see a black person and scream, "I'm being robbed," and they're gonna arrest you. You understand? A woman can say, "Oh, I saw him slap somebody," and they're going to arrest you. So even if the allegations are false, they're going to still take you. And they have this new law now, meaning that, let's say, for instance, whatever happens, we can still charge you for that case if we have some sufficient evidence.
So, but is it all right? That's yeah. You're right. Is it like, because right now in America, it's like it's the thing that's going on. They did it to Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah,
when they could have
they can pull up any case and blow it in your face, because at the end of the day, because of the system is, you're guilty to be found innocent, not innocent to be found guilty. So this is how the system works. So if someone says something, you know what I mean, you may not have been, you might have had consent, and this woman comes 10 years, 20 years later and says that you raped her. How do you get out of that case? If you said, yeah, I slept with her, we only slept once, but she would say you raped her. How do you prove her wrong?
This is the situation.
Many guys go down for rape, many guys go down for theft, many guys go for many things. A lot of people add on. The European man is going to always get away with it because it's their system. So
I see it's the same thing from the UK to New York to Alabama to Oakland, all the way to South Africa. It's the same thing with these damn European crackers, you know, Ritzes, they damn shits they be doing.
But you know, I've got to catch a flight
in
the morning, so I just came to bless my presence, and then we can still do this dialogue with the family online when I get back to England, London, you know. But if you have the opportunity, you can even check me up on the Facebook. They call me Terry Mr. Riggs. You'll see me wear a big brown hat, and you can check me up on the Facebook. You could go to my Instagram, which is HKTH. I repeat, HKTHOLA. HKTHOLA. You can check me up on that, or you can go.
I'm sorry, I didn't. HKTHOLA. HKTHOLA.
So the HKTH stands for History, Knowledge, Tours, and Holidays.
Make sure y'all subscribe. Support.
So that's on the Instagram. And if you want to see us visually, go to Black Ice TV 7, all one word. And if you want to see Signet's interviews, we'll be putting them up.
I'm saying, check out, subscribe, support.
And you know what? I want to pick up all the YouTube channels. You know, I don't have no animosity to any of the YouTube channels. You know, everyone's a school of thought. So, you know, shout out to them, all the YouTube channels out there, from the Signetters to the Bubba TVs, even MBK, whoever and ever. There's loads more, but some names we're not going to even mention. But we're all family, because without this family, we all won't be being together, and we won't be able to fight somebody if you wasn't family in the beginning.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So with that note, support. Make sure you subscribe. Again, donate if you can. Support the Zyx Institute. If you want information about our homeschooling program and any of our services, go onto the website and please get us some information. You can email us at the Zyx Institute, THEXYAYXINSTITUTE. You know what I'm saying? The Zyx Institute at Gmail. You can go to the website, zyx.com/the Zyx Institute. You can hit me up, QUEBUTTER everywhere. You know, we linked up there. So if you want to hit me up about trying to get in touch with him, or if you hit him up, trying to get in touch with me, any way you want to do it, it's connected the same. Please subscribe to his channel. Everybody that y'all, if y'all watch this video in the future, subscribe to the Prophet of Thought. If you in Nashville, go get some chicken for my man Born Rich. You know, if you in California, link up with Sisters Gibbs so we can get these programs coordinated. If you in New York, we are looking for volunteers. We're looking for coordinators. We're looking for people.
And if you want to, even if you want to make a tune, check out QUEBUTTER. You have a studio downstairs. And cut a tune before you leave New York.
You feel me? So that being said, Black Power all the time, every time, man. And